Hi gorgeous beings, and welcome to your messages for the week. This has been an incredible week. This has been an absolutely incredible week. Just a week of huge realization and expansion into more awareness. And awareness is everything. Awareness being seeing without judging, becoming aware. And this is all I seek to aid us all in. And so when there's a big increase in awareness, it expands our experience of the truth, you see. And we can be very much clouded in our experience by our judgments, by deciding that this is right and this is wrong, or even this is me and this is not me. You know, where do you begin? Where do you end? What's that thing that we feel together when we're with other people? What are we recognizing in them that we have? So yeah, I call that conscious awareness. And I also believe that that is love. So there's been a huge expansion into love this week. But also a lot of information. My eyes have been opened to a lot of information, a huge amount of synchronicity beyond anything I've ever experienced. Sometimes when it gets this intense, it can be quite scary actually. It can be quite scary because it's just a lot and it seems to be a lot very fast. So if anybody else is having a kind of strange experience, I'm here with the cards to support and to increase awareness. So yeah, let's just see what the cards have to say. I've been shuffling for a while. I'm going to shuffle through actually a little bit more. They're being a bit kind of, oh, that's not too bad. Being a bit kind of sticky. Or I am. I'm not shuffling that well. Okay, so message for this week is, let's see. There's a lot of light here, but we're not going to change that. Bottom of the deck is Temperance. Wow, this doesn't surprise me. What's this talking about? Balance. What's the big realization I've been experiencing this week? Balance. But what I really want to talk about is this masculine feminine thing. This is a big deal. I'm glad this came up. So this card, Temperance, is about that flow. I often talk about, I suppose, talking to expand into the definition, I guess, of conscious awareness. We could say that the water between these two chalices, between these two cups, is conscious awareness. What they flow between is duality as we perceive it. Light and dark, masculine and feminine, divine and human. What I feel has happened to us and why there's a big shift right now over, and I mean kind of over the past few years, you know, the millennium or 2012 kind of, you know, that kind of, it's actually quite a long period, is that what we did is we began to revere the masculine, the heavenly father and the earthly mother. So we talk about Mother Earth. So we feminized, the feminine became the physical, really, and the masculine became the divine, Father in heaven, and God in heaven. And what happened was we forgot that the physical experience, the human experience, is equal to the divine experience in this dimension of duality. And for as long as we keep projecting our divinity outside of ourselves as physical beings, we will completely miss this conscious awareness, this flow, because if we do not know what these two are, if we hold them, if they are not equal, then the flow cannot flow. And so the big message for this week is that we must honor our humanity as much as our divinity. We must honor our physical experience as much as our divine experience. And I don't just mean that as in, I mean in the way that we think about it. I don't just mean we can't live in la la land and we must be in the physical reality. I mean, that's a bit ridiculous because we are physical. It's in our perspectives upon it. It's to allow to view our humanity in exactly the same way as we view our divinity, to honor our little self or small self or lower self as much as our higher self. To understand that, who is perceiving the higher self or the lower self? Who or what is the perceiver of higher and lower self? Because truly, we are not either. But they are these two chalices from which we flow. Life flows. And when we find that flow, we find peace. And we find balance and the path of least resistance, within which our destiny will occur, our highest destiny. So, what's going on with the masculine and feminine aspects? I have been in two minds, for want of a better phrase, about the masculine feminine spread that I created. Again, there are no divine feminine spreads on YouTube before this one. This is the grandmother spread. So there's something, I was kind of feeling as though I wanted it to be more one, but I feel like even this temperance card is saying it is one. Well, in this spread, basically, the flow is, the truth. And the two sides are necessary in order to experience the flow. And I feel like this is kind of what I want to share in terms of your relationships. It is about two people as well. It's about that connectedness, how we relate to an other. If we do not experience ourselves as equally valid, it's almost impossible for us to be in peace and harmony. Woo! And I guess we've got another secondary message with this judgment card. So yes, so this is a secondary message, as wanted to pop out there, is that yes, we are being called up to more right now. More is more. As soon as I start talking about the higher being the same, I mean, here they are. We can call this higher perspective and maybe this humanity down here and this divinity up here with the angel wings. The divinity does call us, but it calls us to ourselves. It calls us to our humanity. It strips us and shows us ourselves. And this is very important. It's important not to forget to be these beautiful physical animals that are here connected as one with the earth. And I feel like many people, especially within, you know, what we call spirituality, is it's very easy to revere the higher and kind of disregard all the spiritual or the metaphysical, and see it as better or better than. And yes, it can be purer in its feel, because we essentially, our physical reality, we project a lot of things onto it. But this is the playground, you know. This is what we get to mold. So if we don't honor and become aware and connected to it, and love it as much as we love our divine spirit, we miss out on the opportunity, on that basically on the opportunity for peace. This is about bridging the two worlds. And I know a lot of people here, especially if you're kind of in the understanding it in the kind of twin flames story, or you have a very heightened spiritual experience of the self, of the soul. This is the bridge. This is the bridge. It is about bridging those two experiences and not feeling them as separate, but they kind of are separate. But how we bridge them is with this stream of conscious awareness. Okay, so masculine and feminine. Let's see how we are connecting up this week. First card for the masculine is, wow, there we go, Mother Time, the grandmother. Second card for the masculine, the Hanged Man. Interesting. Third card for the masculine, Six of Swords. Fourth card for the masculine, Six of Cups. That's interesting. First card for the feminine, Ace of Cups. Sorry, there's a lot of light here, but I like it. Wow, second card, Star. This does not surprise me. Third card, King of Cups. Fourth card, Six, Eight of Pentacles. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I love it. That Temperance card in the middle there is really interesting. And feels great. It just feels like, oh yes. And what I love is this Ace of Cups over here. You know, the two aces, exactly what I was just saying. These are the two cups are two aces of cups. What is the Ace of Cups? What does it symbolize? Unconditional love. Unconditional love is flow. Is that flow? And it's that both of these of this. Both sides. But it doesn't surprise me that this Ace of Cups has come up on the feminine side, because there's been a huge amount of information about what people call Mary Magdalene, which I call Miriam. But it doesn't really matter. The thing is, names aren't really important. It's just also because there's pronunciation and things. But this, for me, Mary Magdalene doesn't work. It doesn't feel right. And I think mainly it's just because there's been so much projected onto that story. So we're going to call it the divine. We're actually going to call it the embodied divine. I want to call it the embodied divine feminine. This is what I want to call it. But there is an M on this cup, and the Dove of Peace, and this, you know, it's very of that story. So the feminine is truly understanding her experience in the divine feminine, in the embodied divine feminine. And again, this whole honoring our humanity is extremely important in terms of realizing ourselves as the embodied divine feminine.
This week, it's all explained how the divine feminine has been leading the way. And if she misses out on understanding her role as teacher, the masculine misses out on experiencing his role as student. And we must both understand that we are equal, and that the student is always the master and the master is always the student. And when we can really grasp this, then we live in harmony. There's also a secondary message that, about divine timing. What is divine timing? How do we align with divine timing? What's been going on with divine timing? How can we make sense of pauses when we think things aren't moving? What's that about? See you in a sec.